Reaction to a lot of Ferguson protesters. One of the things that I think is interesting about this, and I want to get your take on it, of course, they were winning. They had gotten the police chief removed. They had gotten the court shut down. It looks like they're also going to get the police department shut down in Ferguson because of these practices that were not only racially biased, but were illegal, trying to maximize revenue. And we see that everywhere in America. You don't know about that yet because you haven't been here enough, but where they basically use the police primarily as revenue enhancement. We saw that happen in New York as they shut down in protest of the mayor there. But there were reports last night that the shots did not come from the crowd. First, the police spokesman said that he thought that the shots had come from the crowd, but protesters at the scene and on social media said they thought that the shots were from farther away on top of a hill. What do you think about that? I mean, it could be an agent provocateur trying to keep things going as a racial division, as a protest against the police, just as things would start to wind down.
Well, certainly the NYPD murders were motivated as a revenge killing in response to the Michael Brown verdict. So, you know, we're not sure about who exactly is responsible for the shooting. But what you were talking about earlier is key, because we know that there's a genuine problem with police as predatory forces across the entire country, whether that be revenue generation or police brutality, which targets everybody. Yet what has happened with this Black Lives Matter protest movement and this Ferguson movement is it's discredited legitimate opposition to the real problem of police brutality. And we can see that again in the reaction to the shooting last night. Again, very few details have emerged about it. But even in that very video clip that you just played, seconds after this shooting, somebody's heard to say, a protester is heard to say, acknowledgement 9 months ago would have kept that from happening. You know, acknowledgement of what? The fact that Michael Brown had just robbed a convenience store. He went out, tried to grab Officer Wilson's gun, punched him in the face, charged him, and now even the Holder Justice Department came out this month and said that the eyewitnesses who said that Michael Brown had his hands up were basically lying. There's no evidence to suggest that. There's no evidence from the autopsy reports, from the forensics to suggest that. So we've had this entire narrative based around this hands up, don't shoot myth, which has been completely fabricated. And this has been used as this divide and conquer method, as you said, and that's to turn the majority of Americans away from opposing police brutality.
Exactly.
Because
and
now
I think
they've pigeonholed it into this racial issue.
Yeah.
They pick cases like Antonio Martin, the guy that aimed a gun at an officer's head, and that became the big cause celebrate about police brutality. When you have cases like Kelly Thomas, you know, the other homeless guy who got shot, real genuine cases of police brutality that don't get sustained months-long media attention. And that's because a lot of these protest groups, these Black Lives Matter groups, social justice warriors, they're not about genuinely opposing police brutality. They're being steered. This is not a grassroots movement. George Soros, $33 million sent to these Black Lives Matter Ferguson groups over the past year, according to tax records analyzed by the Washington Times. So they keep the story alive in the social media echo chamber through this giant funding, through media cover. You know, Time magazine in defense of rioting as majority black-owned businesses were being burned down in Ferguson. Time magazine comes out and venerates the looters and the rioters. You know, and they don't give you the wider context behind these individual shootings, Antonio Martin, Michael Brown, you name it. So we're all being manipulated into, you know, being at each other's throats. We're disavowing the facts behind each individual case, and this is being used to discredit opposition to police brutality. So then the polls come out, and you see that the majority of Americans side with the police, because you get incidents like the NYPD murders where these Black Lives Matter protesters are stood there clapping and applauding the murders. And we've seen it again. I mean, you can see in my article, you know, dozens of tweets from Ferguson supporters justifying and even celebrating the shooting of these two officers who were seriously injured and could have died.
Absolutely, Paul. And just as you pointed out, there's so many legitimate cases of innocent people, clearly innocent people, that we could talk about, yet they focus on this one. And that's one of the things that makes me wonder whether this really was shot from a distance. We'll be right back with Paul Joseph Watson talking about the protesters celebrating the shooting of cops. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's happening again. The feds are trying to ban your freedom to own body armor. In January, a newly introduced bill, H.R. 378, will take away your right to buy Level 3 and higher body armor. Katie Armor offers the most affordable Level 3 body armor packages on the market today. Protect yourself. Buy your body armor now before it's too late. Go to katiearmor.com. That's CATI armor.com. Come and take it.
It's no secret that government and big business buy in bulk and get huge discounts not available to the little guy. Until now. Introducing a breakthrough crowd buying website where people can join together, buy in bulk, and get massive discounts on millions of popular products. It's TogetherSave.com. TogetherSave.com. You can save 20, 30, or even 50% off tablets, smartphones, cars, appliances, textbooks, sports equipment, video games, and much more. All with free delivery. Check it out. TogetherSave.com. Visit now and start group buying today at TogetherSave.com.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
Usually, the older one gets, the less you are able to absorb amino acids and the less you are able to repair the 100 trillion cells of your body. As a result, you'll have less energy, your tissues will shrink, and you'll become wrinkled. An older person will typically injure more easily and heal more slowly. Not fun. However, if you can consume a protein powder that is easier to absorb, then you may be able to gain back some strength, muscle, and speed of recovery. One World Whey is a highly digestible whey protein powder that may be the perfect answer for you.
My name is Errol. I'm 74 years old. You know, the taste of One World Whey is amazing. I play pickleball, and since taking One World Whey and your trace mineral supplement, I have more energy and recover faster from my working out. I used to take another grass-fed whey protein powder, but now I'm getting much better results using One World Whey.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldway.com.
As the New World Order continues to tighten its grip on every facet of our lives, we're all asking ourselves, how can we maintain our independence? The answer is clear. Get prepared, and you get prepared now. Now the only question left is, where do we begin? My Patriot Supply is here to help. Call 800-247-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. We're even covering the cost of shipping. Are you willing to rely on the government and FEMA in the event of an emergency? Call 800-274-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. You won't be able to find this deal online, and there is a strict limit of 4 per caller, so don't wait. Call now, 800-274-3070. That's 800-274-3070. Call right now.
To the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin, and joining us from the UK is Paul Joseph Watson. We've just been talking about the shooting of 2 police officers, the reaction on social media, as well as we're going to show you in just a moment a clip of some New York protesters celebrating the fact that the police were shot. And as Paul pointed out in the last segment, there are so many cases of police brutality across the country. People being brutalized, people being killed by the police who are clearly innocent, and yet they focus on Ferguson. where it's very ambiguous, where now even the Justice Department looked at it and did not force the police chief to resign because of what happened to Michael Brown, but they forced him to resign because they were using the police department and the court system, and the court system is gone as well. They removed the judge, but the police and the judge were focused on revenue collection, and they were violating people's civil rights, everyone's civil rights. And most of the people that are getting their civil rights violated were black. Most of the people in Ferguson were black. But this is happening everywhere. The common problems that we have across this country with the police out of control, not protecting our safety, not protecting the safety of the citizens, but coming after them to collect revenue is against state and federal law. We're going to be talking to someone from the National Motorist Association, the NMA. He's going to talk about how they're trying to encourage people to stand up for their rights in court, and they basically will pay for your ticket if you fight and lose. They will help you to fight that ticket, to stand up for your rights. But, Paul, when I look at this, and we've seen how they've used Ferguson and how they've ignored so many of these. I mean, every day we see so many reports coming across. We just can't even cover a fraction of these reports, and yet they focus on the ones that have the potential to divide us racially and to discredit the protest against police brutality, which makes me wonder if this itself is not some kind of an agent provocateur attack against these police, or if it's not some kind of a false flag. What do you think?
I don't think they need to carry out a false flag, because there are so many lunatics out there who are willing to do this. I mean, just look at the article, which is at the top of Drudge now, actually. Ferguson supporters celebrate shooting of police officers. A series of tweets, quote, Clark, Chief Jackson steps down and 2 pigs get shot. Best day Ferguson has had in years. Quote, I'm glad 2 pigs wounded in Ferguson. Quote, kill the pigs. Quote, serves those 2 pigs right. I hope organized public militancy continues. So you have all these people. We have the NYPD murders, which were motivated as a revenge attack for Ferguson. Now that's acknowledged. And then we have this video footage out of New York from back at the end of last year, which we're going to play, in which these Ferguson protesters chant for dead cops. So they have to bear at least some of the responsibility for people shooting at cops. When the protest movement itself calls for dead cops. So we've got that clip.
They've been very successful at building that racial division. Let's play that clip from New York. Make out what they're saying, Paul. Can you? Oh, it's dead cops. That's what they're chanting. This is a mass of people. This is a review of
When do we want it now?
As I get closer, you can hear a little bit better. We want dead cops, I think. Okay, we get the idea. Your comments, Paul?
Yeah, so that was at the end of last year, chanting, what do we want, dead cops, when do we want it now? So they have to bear some responsibility for these kind of shootings. That was before the NYPD murders. Now we have another 2 shootings last night. So you cannot legitimize shooting at cops by claiming, police brutality in these kind of ambiguous incidents. We had another one a couple of weeks ago in Skid Row, where this convicted bank robber tries to grab a cop's gun and ends up getting shot. And again, for days, there was this whole social justice warrior freakout about racist police targeting black people, even though one of the cops in the incident was black. And, if you try and grab a police officer's firearm, the consequences aren't normally going to turn out too well. And then we had Antonio Martin, aimed a gun at a police officer's head and was shot dead. For days after that, there was a big social justice warrior movement. And yet there are real cases, as we said, where innocent people who don't do anything violent, barely even resist, get pummeled, get killed by cops, Kelly Thomas being the prime example. So they seize upon these cases, and then the whole narrative, the whole debate becomes around cops versus black people, when violence itself within the black community is rife for a number of different factors, which we can get into.
It stops any chance that we have.
The mainstream media.
That's right. It stops any chance that we have of trying to get reform. Call us with your comments at 800-259-9231.